Let's go through problem 612A. It's a percentage of completion problem. So what's happening here? We have entered into a long-term contract to deliver, usually it's construction, some multi-year construction project. And if you think, okay, well, what is the performance obligation? We're building, in this case, a bridge. What is the performance obligation? Build the bridge. So when should we recognize revenue? Well, according to what we've learned in this chapter, when that bridge gets delivered, the performance obligation. The problem is, if you're building the bridge over like 5 years, you're saying, I do all this work in year one, but I recognize $0 worth of revenue because I haven't fulfilled my performance obligation. Percentage of completion goes, no. We should be recognizing revenue here along the way. We shouldn't wait for the contract to be completed. We should recognize revenue along the way. And here's one way of doing it. So on January 1st, 2031, Tower Construction signs a contract to build a bridge for the City of Kamloops, my hometown. And the bridge did burn down recently. The total fixed contract price is $12 million. The project is expected to take 3 years, and the following cost information is available for the first year. So we're Tower Construction. We've started our contract. And in year one, we incur $3 million worth of cost towards the making of this bridge, the building of the bridge. We build the city $3.5 million because some sort of cost plus thing here going on, and we've collected just over $3 million from the city. It says do journal entries. These journal entries, pretty straightforward. The first one, well, they're a little quirky actually, so let's get into it. The first journal entry, remember what we're doing. We're working on a project that we're going to deliver to the city. This is inventory for us. And if you think back to your management accounting class, when you make your own inventory, as you're working on it and it's not done yet, what do we call it? We call it WIP, right? Work in process inventory. Here we're going to call it KIP, CIP, construction in process. So that's what I want to debit here. This is work towards a project that has not yet been delivered. Debit construction in process. And the amount is $3 million. Now, what do I credit here? Well, could be, it's going to be a combo of things: cash, accounts payable, wages payable, these types of things. I'm just going to put cash /AP /etc. I'm not really that picky here. For my students, I might say costs incurred, all paid for cash, even though that's not realistic. Just to, like, when I'm marking an exam, I can look for a correct answer and leave students less confused. Here, though, as we're learning, it could be a myriad of accounts to be credited. Billings sent to the city, $3.5 million. Okay, you bill the city, you send them a bill, it's receivable. So debit AR, $3.5 million. Now, normally, when I send the bill, why do I send the bill? Because I delivered the product. So I deliver the product, I send the bill, and I record revenue at that time. That's normally how an accounting function works. Here, because we're billing, but we're not recording revenue in step with the billings, the revenue is going to be a little out of step with it. We don't credit revenue. We credit an account called billings. Billings on construction or billings on contract, or something just to indicate there's this billings account. And we'll talk about the billings account towards the end of the question here. It's going to land on our balance sheet. And it's I think of it as almost like an unearned revenue account. It's like it's the amount I've billed, and have I delivered the project yet? No, like I owe that much bridge, for lack of a better word. But we'll deal with it in a minute. Cash collected from the city. Okay, that's an easy journal entry. Debit cash, credit AR, $3,305,000. And there we have it. We've got, I missed a zero there. We've got our part A done. We've recorded journal entries. Next step, it says, assuming the estimated cost remaining to complete the project are $5 million, calculate the percentage of completion for 2031. So companies can measure their percentage of completion based on many different factors. They can do it based on output. They can do it based on years. They can say, okay, 1 out of 3 years, therefore, this is the percentage of revenue. A very common, I think it's the most common way to do it, is cost to cost. So it's saying, how much cost have I incurred, and what is my estimated total cost of the project? And you change that estimated total cost of the project as time goes on, right? Costs overrun or sometimes underrun, rarely, but you're sort of saying, all right, well, what's the total estimated cost of this project? So we've put in $3 million on what we still think there's $5 million left to do. So the total cost of the project, I'm just going to do it like this, 3 mil plus 5 mil remaining. So 3 mil incurred so far, right? Costs incurred in 2031 plus 5 mil. It's an $8 million project. By the way, we think it's going to make us $12 million in revenue. So it's very worthwhile, I would say, although there's risk in there. Okay. So it's this 3 million is what we've incurred so far. So what percentage of the work has been done? Well, it's 3 out of 8. 3 million divided by 8 million. We've done 37.5% of, we've incurred 37.5% of what we think our costs are going to be. And we're being honest with ourselves, right? We're not lying internally about what we think we've done. We're trying our best to be honest with ourselves here. Because again, we're predicting the future. We're never going to be, it's not going to cost exactly 8 million. And if we're close, it'll be like 8.2 million or 7.9 million. We're never going to be exactly bang on 8 million, but it's our best guess. And our best guess is we've done 37.5% of the work. So that's the percentage of completion. So how much gross profit will be recognized? I'd like you to consider the revenues minus expenses equals minus COGS, I guess. I'll just call it costs. Construction costs are our COGS equals gross profit. It's kind of weird because the reason I hesitate to call it COGS is because we haven't sold the good yet, because the good hasn't been delivered yet, because it's in progress. So I'll just call it costs or construction costs. So revenues, we've earned 37.5% of the revenue, and our revenue is $12 million. So 0.375, our total revenue is going to be $12 million. So we've earned $4.5 million in revenue. We've incurred $3 million in costs so far, and therefore we've earned $1.5 million in profit. Okay, on to part D. Prepare the journal entry to record the revenue and construction expense for 2031. I always think if I've done the revenue minus cost equals gross profit, I've sort of fed this journal entry. We have this journal entry ready to go. So, the starting point, I always want to just record revenue. So for part B, I'm going to credit construction revenue. Sometimes they call it contract revenue or something like this. It's revenue on this project that I'm recognizing so far, which we've said makes sense to have $4.5 million in revenue. I'm going to debit the COGS, and we'll call that construction costs, construction expenses, construction COGS. I'm going to call it construction expenses. And it's the $3 million of costs incurred so far. It's this number, $3 million. Now, what about the other $1.5 million? What about this gross profit? The gross profit gets built into the asset value of what it is we're selling. The gross profit gets added to our construction in process. So that's sort of the least intuitive piece. It does make sense if you think about it. We're saying the value of this project is not just what I build, it's not just my cost. I'm building in some of the profit into the value of this, and otherwise things don't balance. So I got to put it somewhere. That asset value, it has the profit margin built into it. So we debit construction in process. $1.5 million, and there is our revenue journal entry. Okay, the final piece, it asks for a bunch of account balances. Accounts receivable, that's the amount I've billed minus the amount I've collected. 3.5 million minus 3050, it's $450,000. And it's just a debit and credit to AR. So 350 or 3.5 minus 3050 is 450,000. Construction in progress, or in process, pardon me. 3 million plus 1.5 million, it's 4.5 million. It's the total amount of our revenue recognized here. Billings. How much have I billed? I've billed 3.5 million. So I've done 4.5 million worth of work that I will eventually bill. If my billings exactly matched my work, I would have billed 4.5 million so far. I've done 4.5 million worth of work. I've billed 3.5 million. I'm $1 million short on the billing, and it means that stuff I need to bill in the future. It's a future economic benefit. It's an asset. So my net contract position is there's $1 million of asset. I'm $1 million underbilled in this case. I got to catch up my billings. That's a position most construction projects find themselves in. They bill the work after they've done it, so the billings trail the actual work done, and that's what's happened here. And so we got to track that. We've got $1 million net contract position asset in our inventory, essentially. Okay, there we have it. We've solved 612A. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.